I saw you were trying the blueberry latte from Blackout.
Yes.
Let's go. Well, I like it. I like the fact that it's not oversweet, or a lot of times you get flavored coffees and it just like punches you in the face with artificial flavor or taste. I don't get that. But what are your thoughts? I know you usually drink black coffee.
I normally drink black coffee, so this is but like you said, it's in drinking this, it's not overly sweet.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this just happens to be cold. I had it in the fridge, right? But
Yeah.
it's not overpoweringly sweet, and the flavor is strong enough. I could just pour this over ice and be out the door.
Yeah, which I do often. And I will say, my son was telling me the Marines basically live on that shit. Not necessarily the blueberry latte one, the blueberry crumble, sorry. But Blackout coffee, they're like, bro, they drink that shit black straight up and they just hit it. They're like, they live on nicotine and caffeine, bro.
I do have the crumble cake pots. So
Bro, I like those. I drink those straight up, just black.
Yeah, I just drink that straight. Knock those out, in the mornings. So it's a good one for sure.
Yeah.
This is like I'm having an evening type thing.
Yeah, exactly. I wish we would have planned this a little better. I had one before we jumped on because I was like, I need a little boost, bro. I'm a little tired.
Leg workout after this, so I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not mentioning it right now, but
Well, let's leapfrog around, Bo. Let's talk about enhancements because this is where we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, here it was yours that you proposed it.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Well,
get my feelings.
What are your feelings now at this stage of the game, right, in life as we progress?
And when
life?
you say enhancements, what do you mean?
So I guess I'm talking about like supplements, right? Your typical, I don't mean enhancements in the sense of like bionics or fucking, steroids or whatever, but like TRT is a thing as you age. Peptides, your daily supplements, your pills, powders, that kind of thing. It's something that I think for me personally, not that it's like I'm better than you or whatever. It's something I prided myself on, I guess, especially early on, because I knew there were guys who were on like, call it gear or whatever, who were doing like a lot of enhancements. And to kind of like price up, being like, oh, well, I'm not sure. I don't use any kind of enhancements. I've never started taking supplements up until maybe middle of last year. So like, now I'm on, trying these peptides. But strangely enough, the injury is what got me into looking into researching the peptides. So I've been doing CJC 495 different rally for a little over a month. Amazing. Felt amazing. Yeah. Sleep is better, deeper sleep. But I'm like, to the point I'm sleeping like 9 hours, like a rock. And not moving at all, which is great. The body feels good. So now I'm just like, so I'm interested. What do you think about it at this stage of the game?
Well, I'll tell you this: I've always been down with it. Even in college, I maxed my shit out as far as I could. I was never opposed to steroids. I mean, I never did it because we couldn't, right?
Well, yeah.
But
that's also a very big part of it as well.
Well, yeah, you couldn't do it. I don't know. I can't remember who I saw it on somewhere. They said, look, steroids and all that shit, all the enhancements, peptides. If you're not in a competition, who gives a fuck? Rock it out, man. But it is something where if you're going to do that and then you have to go compete against other people who are not doing it, there's something wrong with that. So I'm still, I still agree in that slant. Like you should be doing that if you're getting paid to play sports because you're getting paid for your natural abilities. But let me just pose this to you, not to, I know we use LeBron James, but it's just easy target, I guess. He spends like $6 million a year or some fucking crazy number, which God bless him, on his body, like maintenance and massage, whatever the fuck it is he's doing, like ice bath, all the top shit to maintain his health. And that's why he's had such longevity. Well, most human beings can't afford and sustain that. But if you could inject a peptide or a steroid or whatever, and I'm not saying you're going to necessarily go out and be LeBron James, but to maintain your health and longevity in your fitness for longer periods of time, why wouldn't you do it? Now, caveat to that as well, I never had any desire to ever be like a Ronnie Coleman, just a giant mass of muscle. It's impressive because I know the work that it takes to do that, but aesthetically, like that's not me.
Well,
and I look at that and I'm like, that's a lot of fucking weight to carry, but I've always wanted to maintain a certain level of health and fitness. And you say bionic, but here I am. I got a fucking new knee. I'll also say, I wish I knew 20 years ago what I know now, because I would have been doing stem cells and PRP and shit in my knees instead of fucking the cortisone. Because when you're playing sports, it's just like, oh, your shit hurts, boom, cortisone. Well, as you get older and you start thinking about shit more, You talk to the doctors, surgeons, whatever. They're like, yeah, when you do that, it wipes out everything in your knee. Like it kills all the good and bad.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the less it works. I'm like, nobody told me that shit when I was 19, 20 years old, getting knee injections and shit and in my shoulders and stuff, trying to just trying to get through the next season or whatever.
Well, that's not their job.
Also, maybe true. And also, 1920, I didn't have five. Oh, I don't even know how big stem cells were back then, but they're like $5,000. I didn't have that kind of money back then. So it's one of those things where health and fitness is it's very convoluted, unfortunately. And there's so much negative shit out there and like straight up wrong stuff, right? I don't know what has happened in the last 6 months. I've noticed in the gym, people are doing like these, I don't know even what you call like back pulls, but they're standing. They have heavy weight. They don't go to it looks almost like a deadlift, but they never touch the ground. And they're just like trying to throw as much weight up and down without touching the ground as they can. I'm just looking at them like, you're going to throw your whole spine out. But it's not just one person. I'll see like 15 people. I'm like, who's doing this on the internet that says that this is the proper way? What is going on? I don't know where it's coming from. So you get flooded and inundated with straight up wrong and potentially harmful information. It's really hard to drill down into like what actually works.
Well, yeah,
including enhancements.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of shit. Like you said about the internet, I think a lot of shit is like fad. A lot of shit is fad. A lot of it is, this is what's popular now. This is like, you see, shit going waves like, oh, Pilates is the new thing, for example. Like, well, Pilates has been around for a long fucking time.
Yeah, 100 years, bro.
It's not new. It's not new at all. Like, yeah, and I'm like, I don't know, and I don't want to say it's women. I just think a lot of what is marketable, right? So something like Pilates, I think something like, for example, I'm just picking on Pilates, right? But it goes with a lot of shit. Pilates, as an example, is very marketable. It's fashionable to be like, ooh, it doesn't, not to say that it's not difficult, because I've done it a couple of times. It's hard as fucking shit, right? It's hard as fuck.
And there's clothing that goes along with it. So there's that whole thing too.
Exactly. So like, it's a whole, it's a look, it's an aesthetic, it's a thing. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of the push for some of these things, that being specifically, is really the overall health, or if it's something kind of like it's fashionable, it's to like make money and be like, oh, look, like a lot of it seems to be very performative. Like, oh, look at me, look what I'm doing. But also it doesn't much to necessarily do Pilates. It is difficult, but it doesn't necessarily require as much, right? Your body's not gonna break down. You're not gonna be sore for fucking 5 days. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't give off the same thing as like, for example, if you're gonna, I'm doing strongman, which can, break your body down. It takes me, days or weeks to recover. Because I'm sore for a couple of days because, the reformers, it is what it is. To go back to what you said before, I'm curious what you think about this, because I agree that if you're going to be competing against people who take enhancements or people who don't or whatever, I'm curious about what you think about that in sports that require skill and not necessarily physicality. So I see a little bit of a difference, right? In the sense of like wrestling, just like the body, it involves physicality, right? Wrestling is one of those things. Football is one of those things. It's directly physicality. So if I have all enhancements and I can directly overpower you physically, to me is a little bit different than something, say like baseball, which requires skill. It's like when people are like, another guy who's on the cusp, right? People like to downgrade his accomplishments. Barry Bonds. With all Barry Bonds is on juice. I'm like, whether you believe that or not, whether it's true or not, I was like, you still had to hit the fucking ball. If you take steroid, it doesn't make you a better hitter. It doesn't make your skill level better at what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I'll add an addendum to that. Yeah, contact sports. Because like, I don't know, track, swimming, baseball. Well, no. I'm saying I'm describing non-contact. Boxing, yes, is a contact. Football, yes. I don't know where I stand on soccer or basketball, because that can get physical, but I don't know.
Well, I think it's, again, something is a little bit of a distinction, right? Something that is centered around the physicality. So like swimming, I would say, is one of those things. Track and field is one of those things, where it's like, if I take enhancements, obviously this is a physical sport. Maybe it's not necessarily, I'm not overpowering you, right? But it is based off of what I can do with my body. If my shit's enhanced, yours isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I think that, was it Lance Armstrong, the Tour de France thing, toned him down? Yeah. I'm like, yeah. If I've got better blood than you do, significantly better, and it gives me that much of an advantage, I was like, yeah, but you can't do that. I mean, you only got one nut, but you got better blood. No, it's not really, you can't really do that, dog.
Yeah, bro.
You can't do that. It's not the same.
Yeah, I don't know, man. See, that's what I'm saying. Anything that's competition where you're getting paid to compete or whatever, like Olympics and stuff. Again, I could see an argument for letting it go on skill as opposed to contact or something like what you're talking about, physicality. But I don't know, man. You're starting to play with, I don't know. It's a lot of gray in there, in my opinion. But anyway, put sports aside, all that shit. Just you and me living our life. No, who gives a fuck?
Well, take all of it. Take all of
Yeah,
it.
I'm trying to just stay healthy.
Yeah, I just want to feel good. Again, I know you can attest to it. As someone who's put miles on my body, college, the nature of the job we've been doing for the last 15 years, whatever.
No.
Miles on my body. To want to prolong that and to just feel good every day. First of all, let me back up. I don't think people understand how much of a blessing it is to just wake up and feel good. One, wake up. Well, first and foremost, one, wake up. Two, also wake up and have your body feel good and be able to move, fetch, jump, do it, just to be able to kind of do what you want without limitations. That shit is a blessing. That I don't want to say I took it for granted, but I've had a newfound level of gratitude for that.
Yeah.
In the recent couple of years, because it is once you start to feel that difference of like, oh, this ain't feeling good. I don't know. It puts a strain on your quality of life a little bit, and I think that's probably, like I said, that's the biggest thing is you want to feel good as well as you can for as long as you can. And that's how I say it. Whatever you're gonna do is gonna do that. Take off, do all of it. And give me the super focus serum right now.
Yeah.
Put me through it.
For real.
Bionic
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on that.
Bionics, let me up. All of it.
Let me touch on. I want to touch on the confusing information out there, and now I'm remembering where I saw it. I hit these threads sometimes, and it was all these bodybuilders talking about the different ways, and these are all champions that won Mr. Olympia or whatever. But just listening to them talk, and I can't remember all their names, but you had one guy saying he would do one set of each exercise to failure. That's what he did. Plain and simple. Then you had other guys saying that they would train 7 days a week, whatever. And they were hitting every body part, 6 hours a day, whatever. And then I think Jay Cutler, he's one I remember. I don't think he was more about perfect, clean reps. He never like maxed out. Like that wasn't his deal. He was trying to load the muscle, load the pump. Then you had somebody like Ronnie Coleman who was trying to fucking leg press 2,300 pounds and squat 800 pounds and fucking bench press 800. He'd go as heavy as fucking he could possibly go. Again, these are all champions, but you hear what I'm saying? Like they all had very different ways. And there was, I can't remember. See, I can't remember the names, Lee Priest or one of these other guys. But he's like, yeah, I worked out 3 days a week. That's it. He goes, you got to give your body rest. And people, and everyone's like, no, that's bullshit. He goes, well,
look at him.
I mean, how you gonna tell me I'm wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Look at it. Yeah,
and then you've got the new bodybuilders. The C-bomb. What's his name?
Yeah,
Sam
C-bomb. You got
what's Sam something? Sam Solik.
Sam Solik, yeah.
Which that dude's drinking gallons of chocolate milk and eating cereal.
Crazy enough, he used to be a swimmer, I think, when he first started this thing.
I don't know what he was, but his shit's wild, bro. And he's like, he has, he's huge, but he talks about like he'd rather get 5 dirty reps as opposed to 1 or 2 clean reps. For him, he's like, he just wants to he wants to go to failure. Like he wants to kill his fucking muscles. The dude's huge. So what I'm saying is there's so much confusing information out there. So what is right? What's the best way to do it? I don't fucking know.
I think people just got to find what works for you and find what you can sustain over a long period of time. That is, we've all been there, right? I've fallen out of love with fitness a couple of times, especially in college when it seemed more like a job than it was like a part of life or whatever, right? But the most difficult part is finding something that you have to fit into your day or fit into your schedule. And then that part would be the most when it seems like you're fighting against the routine. You know what I mean? Like you got to find something that's sustainable. I think that's going to be the most difficult part. If you have the time and the ability to crush your body every day, and you don't have to get up and work in a warehouse or lift, or do construction or chase bad guys, or you can do that and then you go sit in the office, or you know what I mean? Like it just depends on what works for you.
What you doing?
Find out what works for you. Try whatever. Find out what works, what you can sustain, and just fucking do that. At the end of the day, it's just your fucking body.
Yeah. Also true. I got to tell you, baby girl, my daughter, she had her first CrossFit session just because I need her. She needs to. She wants to, needs to. Whatever I'm trying to say here. Pull ups. She wants to work on her upper body, and so it's the best thing I could think of. Because she doesn't live with me, so I'm like I can't be there every day. And so she went through 1 hour. She woke up this morning and was like, I've never been this sore in my entire life. And it was just like a one-on-one coaching session. Like, let's just run through the exercises, like body weight, PVC pipe, real light, nothing. It wasn't even like a full blown CrossFit workout. It was just like, hey, I think at the very end, they did like an 8-minute, whatever it's called, where they just went through some real basic stuff. She's like, she texted me this morning. She's like, I feel like I'm going to die. I was like, that's good. You'll be all right. You got to do your next workout tomorrow. You'll be all right. Just drink a lot of water and eat meat. Oh shit, bro. Well, let's talk. Are we good on that?
Yeah.
Well, we got to touch on the WNBA thing. I think we have a difference of opinion on this one. We'll see. I don't know. Famously came out, wore the "Pay Us What You Owe Us" shirts, and it's caused a social media stir on. Ma'ams, your league loses $40 million a year, so there's a bunch of memes about like they're all getting bills instead of paychecks.
I've seen them that.
So, well, go ahead, bro. Tell me your thoughts.
I don't think it's like people are not demonizing them, but they're kind of bashing them for wanting more. I was like, that's not an uncommon thing, right? It's not uncommon. It's strange to want more money for doing what you do. Do the salaries seem a little bit low? Kind of. They do seem low, right? But also they have to realize, put in the context of, as the league does not generate a lot of revenue, you only have a handful of teams. The season is relatively short in comparison to the NBA. Now, do they want to have more money, make more money? Of course, right? So that, I don't think that's.
I don't hate people that want to make more money. Get your bread up.
I don't think they're out of balance for that at all.
No, fine. Everybody wants more. I want more money. I want to get paid for this stuff. But ain't nobody cut me checks.
But I think a little, especially the All-Star stuff, right? With the shirts, I think it came off a little bit tone deaf. One of those things where it's like, listen, I think you catch more flies with honey than you do with shit, right? It comes off. Pants What You Always comes off as a demand. I'm like, you're not really in a position to make demands when the league as a collective is not necessarily generating enough revenue to justify a higher salary, right? In by most metrics. Sidebar with that, it seems as though, I was just looking at, first of all, I love Kelsey Plum. She's like one of my favorite WNBA players. She's like, first, I think she's smoking. She's gorgeous, beautiful woman. So she's like, also like one of my celebrity crushes, if you will. So I love that. But wasn't thrilled how she kind of like threw Caitlin Clark on the bus. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, why would you say that? And I was like, why would you say that? It's like, it's one of those things like, I feel like didn't need to be said. And as a collective, it would seem as though the league has an issue with Caitlin Clark. It seems.
I don't know why.
It comes off that way. And they say, oh, we don't have a problem. Like, it comes off that way with the things that happen.
You mean the amount of fucking hate and violence?
It's like, it seems like it comes off that way to the general person, right?
It really feels like it comes off that way because she's white. If she was a black girl, she'd be the biggest. She'd be Michael Jordan.
I don't know. To me, I don't think that's the reason. It
feels like it
because there's been other players who first of all, there are other players who are way better than Caitlin Clark. Maya Moore, 100% better than Caitlin Clark. For me, the whole
Cheryl Swoop, she was huge.
Swoop,
I know her name.
There's been players who are better, a better caliber, right? But I think where like some of like the Jordan comparisons come in at, Caitlin Clark is very marketable, right? So she's what's hot now. This is what's going to, whether you agree with her or not, whether people in the WWE agree with her or not, whether you think she's good or not. What you can't argue with is her popularity and her popularity driving the revenue and driving the league forward. The Jordan comparison comes in, right? Jordan in the 80s. The league seemed to be kind of failing a little bit. Jordan comes along, kind of spices things up. Oh, no, they kind of put the league on the back of Jordan to kind of boost the league up, right? Rising tide, what do they say? Rising tide lifts all boats. If this is being more popular, I wouldn't be saying shit whether I liked her or not. I'd be like, oh yeah, when we're playing her, bring my best A game. This is awesome. It's great for the league. But whether you like her or not, you could fucking hate it. It could be, like I said, that's why I think it doesn't necessarily mean it's not necessarily like a white or black thing. I think it could be an athletic thing, right? Whereas like they think, well, I'm a better caliber player, and we're better. We've always been good. No one said that you guys weren't good before this. I was like, but whether you're good or not has no bearing on whether people are watching or not either.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you're the best player in the league that nobody watches? Or do you want to have someone come along that brings more eyes to the league, and then now you get a chance to showcase how good you are on a bigger stage for more people to see? It's almost seems I'm like, I don't see what the problem with that part is either. So I said, like, but I just don't get how they're going about it. Doesn't seem to be, clearly it's not working because the CBA, it's not, it's not agreed upon, and they haven't, the money part is not there. So what you're doing is not working, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to get paid more, figure it out. Business strategy, right?
Yeah. Find a new strategy. This one ain't working.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. The other big hot topic in the news, and I'm laughing for different reasons than what you see on social media and shit, but the Hunter Biden interview, bro, I'm going to stick on one part, but apparently the dude talked for like 3 hours. I don't know anybody who's actually watched the whole thing. I've just seen clips.
Before you start that, why would he agree to go on an interview? Why would you do that?
Dude, it doesn't feel like he set it up. It was like he was at some sort of convention. I don't know. He was at some event and this dude came up and was like, "Hey, I have a podcast. Do you mind talking?" I don't know how it all went down. Clearly, I don't. But I'm just telling you what it looks like because they're sitting on like metal chairs in a park. I don't know. Like it's like you went walking your dog and just sat down for 3 hours and it was like, "All right, let me get some shit off my chest." And just started fucking going nuts, bro. But bro, the one part I got to talk about, and I can't remember who. I didn't create this analogy, but it was like Hunter Biden was talking about crack the way Bert Kreischer talks about alcohol, bro. And again, the podcaster was like, "So what do you feel about them reopening the cocaine investigation at the White House?" And he just goes, "Oh, I assume everybody thinks it's mine." And I'm paraphrasing all this shit. He goes, "But the thing is this, why? I'm not stupid enough to bring cocaine to the White House. That's dumb. Plus, cocaine's not even my favorite thing. Crack was because it's cleaner." And the guy goes, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, because of the sodium bicarbonate. You mix it, it cleans out all the impurities, gives you a better." He starts going on this whole thing. And he goes, "Keep in mind, I've been clean since 2019, but crack is it's way better. People think it's dirty. They're wrong. It's the cleanest form that you can do." And I was like, and I'm listening. I'm like, is this what's happening? And then he goes, "Does crack make you act differently or think differently than you normally would?" No, not at all. He goes, "Is it worse than alcohol?" I don't think so. I think it's better for you than alcohol. Bro, again, and I'm just sitting there listening, like, what is, bro? He goes on for like 5-10 minutes, whatever it is, talking about. I was like, "Bro, are you okay, man? Like, are you good? You need a minute?" And he even stops himself. He goes, "I don't want to talk myself into getting that crack euphoria." He goes, "Give me just a second." Like he was getting himself worked up. Bro, I'm telling you, if he wasn't doing it on purpose, it's like the greatest skit you could ever do.
Oh my god, bro!
And we're talking about crack cocaine, bro.
I gotta go watch it now.
Oh, bro, I was dying laughing, man. And people are shitting on him for all these other reasons, but I was like, that is the funniest shit I have seen in a long time.
I feel like somebody should be supervising him and being like, "Hey, man, nah, dog, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be speaking out in public, especially."
Bro, it's like that. It's like that part in the movie Half Baked with Dave Chappelle where the dude quits his job. He's like, fuck you, crack cocaine. You're cool. I like you. Fuck you. I'm out. And he just he's like, boom. He shits on everybody he could possibly shit on. I did feel like I was like, does he not have a staff person? Like somebody needs to be like, "Hey, sir, you've been talking about crack for 10 minutes. Do you want to change the topic?" I don't know.
You seem to be really, really into this. Like, not like, like you said, it's like I almost feel like I'm intruding on something by listening to what he's talking about.
But I felt like I need to close the door for a minute to let you have your moment.
You need some time by yourself, or?
Bro, you gotta watch it, bro. You gotta watch it. Oh my god, bro! All right, I had to bring that up because that shit had me rolling. All right, so we're gonna talk about this because apparently I'm ignorant and devoid of reason.
I don't think so, but.
Because we're talking and you're just like, yeah, and I am, and I'm going to preface this with, I am wrong. Because I asked a couple, because you made a point. I was talking about growing up in the inner city. I was referring to you growing up in the inner city. And you're like, "Bro, I didn't grow up in the inner city." And then this was my point. I wasn't in the projects. I wasn't poor. I wasn't high crime, none of that stuff. And I was like, I didn't say any of that. And the point in the conversation you and I had was, yeah, but when you say inner city, it means that it's a negative connotation. And I was like, it completely, like, I said, no, if I wanted to say all the things that I would have said that. But then I asked other people and they're like, "No, yeah, inner city's like negative, it's derogatory." I was like, it's blowing my mind. Even as I'm sitting here telling you, I'll take my lump and I'm wrong. Clearly, if I wanted to say projects, poor, high crime, I would say those words. To me, inner city means you lived in the city. But clearly I'm naive fucking 12-year-old that doesn't know what's going on.
But I was gonna say,
But
I
could
think,
you elaborate from your
yeah.
point?
So I think when you're speaking about things, you're speaking
Yes,
because I asked you about it. So if I said I'm from the country, what would you
away from
what
this, not in the city.
you say not in the city? I was like, but yes, that's what that means geographically, right? But yeah, I said you got to remember the context of the term inner city, right? When cities were, I guess, first developed, we'll go back to like 50s, 60s, right? Most of the people lived in the city. The suburbs, right? The suburban area was mostly people trying to get away from the city because the city wasn't the best place to be. They were trying to get away from everything that was happening in the city. So when they put things of like, oh, the inner city, the bad things are happening in the inner city, which is completely different than now, where people are trying to. I'll just use Tampa because I live here, right? You lived here too, right? So there are different sections of the city. Like there's West Tampa,
I lived in the suburbs.
there's Ybor, there's New Tampa,
Yeah.
there's this, right? But now there's obviously a push for people to kind of like, oh, I want to be closer to downtown. Right? I want to be closer to downtown. I don't want to have
Yeah,
this is where all the hustle and bustle is. I was like, that's not how it always has
like
been.
channel side. Like that's. I remember. Sorry, never mind. Well, actually, let me interject for 2 seconds and I don't mean to make you mad. You were like, bro, there's a condo for like $100,000 on channel side. I was like, you should buy that, bro. And then I believe the lady that you were with at the time was like, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. Blah blah blah. So you didn't do it. Now that same condo is like 600,000.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah.
Anywho, sorry.
Should have bought that one. I should listen to my gut on that one, right?
Yeah. Bro, I was like, yeah, you should do that shit. Anyway, go ahead.
I didn't have $100,000 money back at the time.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But but I think this comes back to like the connotation of not necessarily words, but like how you. No, I don't think you're necessarily wrong for this because you're thinking about it in a geographical sense, right?
Yeah.
When people say, "Oh," there are emotions that get tied to different words that we say, right? Whether those words mean obviously words matter. The meanings of words matter because we have to all be on the same page about what we're talking about. Otherwise, how are we going to communicate effectively if we're not in agreement on what a word means, right?
Yes.
So there's that. But we'll say things like any other kind of word, like we'll just say any kind of derogatory term, right? We'll say for the sake of clickbait or whatever, we'll say like, there's different words for different groups of people, right? There's words that have a negative, like racial words or physical appearance or other kind of things where the word doesn't necessarily mean that, it means something else, but the connotation with it is negative, right? And the inner city thing, I told you, I was like, yeah, it doesn't come off as well, even though I know what you're saying, and because I know you and I know what you mean, but the general person would hear that and think, oh, you came from a bad part of town. No,
that's so crazy to me, bro.
Like, no, it's not what I mean. But yeah, it's not just it's not just with that specifically. There's a lot of other things where the connotation of what people are saying is negative. It's interesting in words and where they come from and what they mean and what we've sometimes changed them to be. For example, the word gay.
Yeah. No, for sure.
You know, say gay doesn't mean has not
gay. It originally meant happy.
Nothing to do with sexual orientation.
Yeah. No, it was a feeling.
Transform into something completely different. Right?
Yeah.
So if you come from like you're a time traveler from the fucking 50s, right? And you come and say, hey man, I was like, oh man, you're looking pretty gay today. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he literally means you look happy. You think I'm blah, blah, blah. Like, whoa, wait, what are we talking about here? Right?
There's songs that talk about how gay they feel.
Exactly, right? So it's like, so we've over time kind of changed the meanings of words and changed the connotation of what words mean and how we react to them. So I don't think that you're wrong for saying that, but the reason I was clearing it up, I was like, I know when people read this, they're going to think something that's different.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to disrespect you or your mom or anybody like it.
Well, I don't think
that would mortify me for that to ever happen. But because it's like, no, that's not what I meant at all. It just, you didn't grow up in the fucking mountain woods. You grew up in the city, which I would mean in inner city. Anyway, whatever. To your point, you just reminded me, I did get in trouble one time years ago because I can't remember how the conversation came up, but we were talking about something and I said, yeah, like, the Orientals, or I said something like that. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I just meant of Asian descent, like the Orient, that area. I don't know what I'm talking about. Dude, this Korean girl, bro, she lit into my ass for like 20 minutes.
Well, was this in the Masters thing? I think I remember us talking about this.
We did talk about it. But no, this was before that. But yeah, bro, I got lit up. I got lit up for that. That just was it, bro. Like you said, the connotation. Again, I'm not Asian and I don't know any of that stuff, but apparently it has. And I'm like, well, how if I don't know you and I'm trying to describe something going on, like I don't know the difference between Korean, Chinese, Japanese. Like at the time, I have now educated myself a little better, but bro, like Hispanics, holy fuck, bro. Dominicans, Mexicans, Brazilian, bro, you better know what you're talking about. Which is funny to me because white people, it doesn't have the same thing. Like, oh, bro, you look Eastern European. Oh, what the fuck does that mean? Okay, you look Russian. Okay, you look Canadian. Okay, like it doesn't mean anything. And if it does, it's not going to be to the severity of like crying or vein coming out of your head, sweating with the sweat on your lip, angry. And it's like, whoa, what is like? I try not to be an ignorant buffoon wandering around this world, but I'm just like, what did I just say?
Well, I mean, obviously, too, I think a lot of things are, well, then even with myself, it's like, well, you gotta, I mean, you have to in this day and age, right? You have to watch what you say, in the sense you have to be mindful of, not necessarily watch what you say, like you can't say what you're going to say, but being mindful, and that's something I've definitely learned over time, especially being a cop, like being mindful of what I'm going to, like, how is what I'm about to say going to be,
Yeah.
right? Like, what's the reaction I'm going to get, even if I'm right or wrong, right?
No, fair enough.
Like, so I'm like, how do I want this to come off? I'm like, I probably shouldn't say this, or I should explain it a little bit more, or preface it before I say it. Say, hey, I'm not, for example, I try to preface things a lot more than I used to back in the day, right? I'd rather preference than try to explain after the fact.
Yes.
Because if I do that, if I preface it, at least you realize that I'm conscious about how this is gonna go. Right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So they'd be like, hey, I don't really know how to say this the proper way, but this person looks like they could be from blah 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 blah. I could be completely wrong. I don't know if that's out of bounds or not, but this is the way I'm looking at this. How can I communicate this? Am I wrong for saying that? Comes off a lot better than being like, well, this person looks like blah blah blah. How else am I supposed to say? You know what I mean? Like it has a different feel to it. And I think I do remember us talking about this with the Oriental thing. And if I remember,
I think I was talking about food. I was describing food at the time.
I think if I remember correctly, she was more offended. I think she would have been less offended had you prefaced it, as opposed to like just saying it and being like, "Oh, well, I had no idea." Well, you're ignorant. Yes, I may be ignorant at the moment, right? I could be completely ignorant to this at the moment. I was completely unaware, right? But can you explain to me why that's usually this is obviously for people that don't know us personally. This is the way that our conversations usually go when there's things that are polarizing or whatever. Like, there's anything. For example, like we had a conversation, obviously offline about it. And you're like, "Oh, I had no idea that it was that the conversation could be taken that way." And I was like, "Yeah." I don't think there was any kind of malicious intent about it. Obviously not. It was more of like an education thing, but this could be taken a different way.
I have traveled more now, but again, and I've learned a lot and I've been exposed to a way more. But my thing is like, it's very difficult to learn these things. Like, I grew up a poor kid in a trailer park, bro. Cut off jean shorts, Goodwill clothes, rat tail with a bead in it hanging out the back, swimming in the runoff at the end of the street or whatever. Like, that's where we would all swim. And it's amazing because I don't know, man, I'm not just trying to say it's a poor thing, but like you're not educated in all these, you're not exposed to all that and to all the different, connotations of words and stuff. Cause you're just, hey, we're all poor, whatever, black, white, Hispanic. It didn't fucking matter. Boy, girl, it didn't matter, bro. We all got together after school. We all did the same shit, running through whatever the fuck we were doing. And then as you get older and you go to, college, higher levels of learning and all this stuff like that, and you're still talking like you did when you were in the trailer park, people just are mortified and enraged. And you're just like, what is going on? What did I say?
Well, this lesson you talk about that brings up and this is interesting. We talk about this is live and in person, right?
Yeah.
It's strange that you made that point, or that you had that, because your experience, obviously, you know each other, I know your background growing up, right? And you know mine. But I would think, and this is probably obviously definitely speaking as a generality, right? I think that most people looking at you would not, and this could be racial thing, this could be like socioeconomic thing or whatever. Not that it's safe to say, but I think sometimes as a generality, people would look at maybe white people and not assume off the bat that their upbringing was rooted in a lower socioeconomic place. So they would maybe
Maybe.
Oh, middle class or above, not necessarily off the rip assume lower socioeconomic upbringing versus maybe some other parts of our national demographic could. It's almost like it's like the opposite. Like I think people will be more surprised at your upbringing by looking at you as if the same level of surprise, like, oh, I grew up in a trailer park, whatever, versus if they looked at me, be like, oh yeah, I grew up in, Santa Monica Valley as a trust fund kid. I've never, they'd be like, oh, huh, I wouldn't, like most people wouldn't assume that off the rip. They would assume like the opposite. Does that make sense?
Now, are you wearing your Sperry's on the boat smoking a cigar, bro? Because otherwise, yes, I would. Where are we when we're having this conversation?
Sometimes, yeah, but I think some of that comes from how you present, or sometimes the way you speak, or the way you carry, like the way you carry yourself, which is a strange dynamic that now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, that's kind of wild to think that like you look at someone and be like, oh well, and I don't even know if it's a conscious thing, right? I just think maybe it's from like media propaganda, or like what you see on social media, like what gets put out there the most. It's maybe like it's not, put it this way, a lot of what we see stereotypically is not the full scope, the experience of different demographic, right?
Well, I could tell you that a lot of it is also the way you speak, and the way I speak, I can credit solely to my mother, because when I divorced parents, I did the whole rigmarole. But when I lived with my dad, I picked up a deep, I can't even mimic it anymore, a deep Southern drawl, like really. I mean, that's a little Forrest Gumpy, but whatever. It was really bad. And my mom would smack the fucking shit out of me and be like, "You sound like an idiot when you talk like that." And I'm like, "But this is just how I talk. Like, I don't understand." And it was through that where you need to enunciate and pronunciate, and again, education, whatever, right? Just like, anyway, I don't want to dive too much into that, but yes. So I do lack certain, I guess, I don't know, cultural knowledge from my upbringing. A lot of it is socioeconomic. It's funny. I do talk about this sometimes, and people are like, they either think I'm fucking lying, but I'm like, how do you cook fried bologna? And if they don't talk about popping the bubble in the middle, then bro, you never cook fried bologna, bitch.
That's how I know you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't pop the bubble, but this is the other thing. My mom is now a doctor, very successful. I remember we talk about it every now and again. We talk about like, yo, we're on the come up. We made it 40 years later, but we would eat rice 3 meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you want a dessert, you better put some cinnamon and sugar on the rice. And it was minute rice, bro. It wasn't even like that good rice. It was just like in a bag rice. I didn't know any other way. I can tell you right now, my kids have never felt that. They have no idea what I'm talking about. They think they're struggling because they ran out of their fucking Stoke coffee or whatever the fuck it is. I will say this. My son is like, yeah, I miss my memory foam bed with the central air conditioning. I was like, bitch, you don't even know hardship.
You don't even know what it's like to struggle. You don't know. You have no idea. You have no clue, man. So, but at the same time,
yeah, that it is the point, and I don't regret it at all. And he's like, well, I mean, I went through boot camp. I was like, yeah, but you knew there was an end to it. I said, when I was growing up, there was no end, baby.
And you don't know that struggle of.
Nah, you never got beat up because all you were wearing was fucking Goodwill clothes.
You don't know that weight. Something on that weight. But yeah, nobody figuring this out but you.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is that's the point. That also you kind of want to have it. You don't want to have them struggling or
fuck that
unnecessarily. That's unnecessary struggle. Like if I can save you from that, yeah. It's strange. Not as strange. I think about this too. Obviously, I don't have kids yet, but I think that a lot of the things that my parents used to tell me back in the day, I'm starting to understand it now more. Especially just with doing it, like seeing how other people live. I think that's another thing too. I think a lot of people don't realize how other people live in the country. They just think that what they're doing is normal. It's like, yeah, there's people who are a lot worse off than you. But I know you're inconvenienced by the kids yelling in the pool. You know what I mean? Like,
I do understand that, by the way.
You know what I'm saying? My neighbor's cutting their grass at hours I don't agree with. Listen, this is.
It'd be all right, bro.
No, okay, right.
But
that's the point. That's like some things like, and I think they used to tell me things so that I was aware and not oblivious. Yeah. But at the same time, they didn't want me to. Not, say if I can help you from going through it, of course, but I don't want you to be oblivious to the point that you don't understand that what's out there with him.
I will say, and again, this is a first world problem. It's a probably American problem, but the ability to travel to other countries and relative safety. But when you travel to these third world countries, bro, even with what I don't feel bad about what growing up in the trailer park. At least I was eating, I had food, I had shelter, because I've seen people who work all day and go home to a mud hut and they're skinning whatever animal they could get their hands on. And that might be, that's their meal till they find another one, like that kind of shit. And they're working 10, 12 hours a day, getting like $2. Americans hear that like, man, that's bullshit. No, dude, I've seen it.
What's not?
I've seen it with my eyeballs, bro.
Yeah, a lot of first world problems that people just don't understand. I'm like, I don't think you understand how good you got.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for real. The other thing is, I don't necessarily, I don't know what I wouldn't call Ghana, Tanzania, and Zambia third world per se, but I mean, they do have struggles. But I will say they're very proud of their country. They're always happy. The ones that I met, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 different individuals that were working. Very thankful, grateful. I will say this. I'll say it again. I don't know if I've said it on the show. For recruiting purposes, I don't know what, but everyone in Ghana, male and female, they're all 6'2" with like athletic swimmer build, bro. They eat one time a day. And I was just like, what, bro? I felt like I was surrounded by like D1 athletes. I was like, how is this a whole culture of people that could all play in the D1 sports? I'm like, holy shit. It was impressive, dude.
No, it's strong,
bro. I saw that shit. I was like, God damn. Wow, bro. Wow. All right. Anyway, we'll wrap it up, but I gotta ask you about this. Your bomb tech, LA bomb explosion. I'll just tell you what I know and then you tell me. I just saw the report. People died, but it looks like it was just it wasn't even training. They were just moving ordnance or disposing. That part I don't know. The fucking killed. I didn't look it up, but it was like 4 or 5 dead, whatever it was. But do you know any more about it, or did you get any brief on that?
I'd be interested to see what the X-rays that they saw were. From what I've read and what I understand, they possibly could have thought that the device was inert, which means, for people that don't know, inert means.
So were they trying to dispose of a device?
They were just moving it so that way they could maybe either get it open or just dispose of it or do whatever. So something that's inert doesn't necessarily need to be disposed of, right?
I gotcha.
It's not operable. It doesn't work, right? So yeah. I'd be interested to see what they saw and kind of what motivated them to take the actions that they took. Definitely, Hubbard, very, very fucking sad, very fucking tragic.
Oh,
the danger of doing said job, it's like you. Not to say I don't want to imply that they were being complacent by any stretch of their imagination. I'm sure they were doing.
No, we don't know yet.
That they were trained in doing it properly, but it's almost like you get it right so many times. Now, again, not to the level of complacency, right? But to levels like, that's just very, very, very sad. I'm sure that LA County is a busy area, a busy squad. So yeah. I'm sure they, in the years that they've been tech, I'm sure they've seen plenty and come across a lot of things. That's one of the ones I'm interested to see what the official report and the official follow up is going to be.
Now, do you guys get that in your community? Like, will you get that at some point?
At some point, it'll make its way around. It'll make its way around the community for sure. Yeah, it'll make its way around. Very, 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 very sad. So within the community, we've got a lot of emails, a lot of, try to get those guys support to that surrounding area, donations and all that kind of stuff. But it's obviously you can't replace the people,
No, for sure.
So it's very, very sad. It's unfortunate. And it's one of the kind of just highlights, the dangers of doing that a particular job.
Yeah, it was a wild thing, man. I'd be interested to see. Maybe we'll touch on it again whenever that report makes its rounds, because I'm interested, because that's just such a devastating. I mean, that doesn't happen very often in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, explosions happen on occasion, but like completely just like, oh yeah, we're moving it, boom, and holy shit.
Yeah, but like I said, and I never say this jokingly, but people are like, how do you do? I was like, listen, man, you get it right or you get it wrong. And if I get it wrong, which is probably for the most part immediately not my problem anymore. And that's how me personally, rationalizes what I'm doing in the moment. You know what I mean? So
sure.
It's just very. You can tell they're obviously caught off guard because there were so many of them around.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like
that's what it looks like. It was completely just like no idea what was going on.
Yeah, this was like not to say there wasn't a serious operation, right? But if they would have thought this was a live thing, I'm sure 100% things happen a little bit differently. But like again, not to money more the quarterback them by any stretch of imagination. That's why I just would just be interested to see what the X-rays look like.
Yeah, for real. Damn.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, brother.
Catch you on the next one.
Yeah.